Matthew. I'm the founder of Some Foods, the maker of Some Sweet, and also a nutritional therapist. On this broadcast, we talk about health news and information as it applies to your everyday life. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up if you like this kind of content. Yes, that means like the video. And we want to hear from you. So comment if you have something that you want to share with us. And subscribe to all of our social medias. And now, on to the broadcast.
Yeah, I see it now, but it's funny until I download Chrome for something else.
Well, hello. I don't think my mic was muted. Hello. How are we doing today? I hope you all can hear me just fine. Well, as usual, I'm getting used to these systems. My hair is lopsided here, so I don't know what the fluffy side is. But anyway, so I'm getting used to these systems. So I have my phone here. So I am gonna get our guest on while this system is trying to tell her to download something. And remember, I told you guys yesterday that it seemed like we were running into they were having some technical difficulties. And so it's trying to get her to download something that I don't think she probably really needs to actually download. But what we're going to do is going to just do a little bit of housekeeping here. So you know who I am, Teresa T.L. Matthew, the founder of Some Foods, the maker of Some Sweet. And what we have a special guest that's going to join us today. We will be discussing. She's a featured author and integrative nutrition health coach. But just to start out the broadcast like we usually do, just want to give credit to Some Foods, the maker of Some Sweet. And I'm going to share the screen there with it. And let me clear myself off and get it up there nice and big for you to see it. Now, I ought to have I'd have a contest with you guys. If you go back and look at this week's podcast, if you go back and listen to this week's podcast or go back and listen or watch this week's broadcast, whichever one you do, if you're looking at the video or the audio, and tell me what I did different. But if you want to get a hold of this sweetener, you can go over to the website that is SUMSWEET.com. Go to somesweet.com and you can get a hold of the most spectacular sweetener that there is on the market. Yes, indeedy, you can get a hold of that. And I just want to make us aware that this month is Diabetes Awareness Month. And with that being said, we have a little bit of some information that I want to share with you with regard to that. But before we go too much further, again, I am a nutritional therapist and I no longer practice, and that's why I want to give voice to all of those who are practicing, so you guys can know where to go. You good people can know where to go and know who to and be able to find the great help, great assistance. I'm going to take this down off the screen here. I do see that that we're getting close there. We're getting close with the technical stuff. So if you guys, if y'all just give me a moment, just bear with me, because I said that's why I go live, because if I had to record this and see all the stuff I would have to remove, and you guys would not just be able to have all these good laughs that you get to have, and humor is good medicine, in case you didn't know. It does help to relieve some stress, help you lower your cortisol levels a little bit. And in that case, it's going to help you burn a little bit of fat. So look at there. So look at the good deed that's going on here today. All right. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break, share some, bring up some announcements here, and then when we come back, hopefully everything will be cleared out and our guests will be joining us. So I'll be back in just a brief moment after these announcements.
A change in diet and nutrition as a means of controlling and managing the blood glucose levels in the body is important for diabetic individuals. Also, making wise choices regarding the foods you eat. It simply means that a well planned and beneficial diabetic diet regime is one that involves limiting the intake of sweets and sugars, and that's where Some Sweet Plus can help. It can help you ensure that your sweet treats don't disturb your general carbohydrate count. Make and enjoy your sweet treats with Some Sweet Plus. Acquiring diabetes simply indicates that you should put an end to the consumption of sweets. Even though diabetics are prevented from eating sweets, experts agree that occasional intake of sweets will do no harm. The major concern is in ensuring that sweets are taken in controlled quantities, and that's where Some Sweet Plus can help you ensure your sweet treats don't disturb your general carbohydrate count. Make and enjoy your treats with Some Sweet Plus.
All right, all right, all right. Yes, we're getting very close, everyone. We're getting very, very close. Um, so with just a little bit, did you like those little ads? Did you like those? Yes, I try, I try. Okay, so without further ado, we're gonna jump right into the conversation because I don't want to take up as too much time. So I believe that our special guest is there is there with us. Tiffany, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, there you go. All right. Yay. We did it, you guys. We did it. We did it. We have a guest on the screen with me today. So welcome, Tiffany. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here and I can't wait to dive into all of the good stuff.
Yes, yes, yes. So go ahead and tell the people about you. Tell them, give them a little bit of your background and what it is that you do. We'll be talking about your practice and things like that and how you help folks to get better.
Sure. So my name is Tiffany Manbodh. I am a published author of 2 books, and I'm also an integrative nutrition health coach. So I help individuals, I guide them towards achieving their health and wellness goals. But mostly, where my specialty is that I help women, boss babes, female entrepreneurs. I help them to heal their relationship with food and stress so they can step into their power and just be in their highest self and vibrant energy that will translate into other areas of their life, like their relationships, their career, just anyone they come in contact with, they're going to be radiating this energy and impacting people in a positive manner. So that is the magic that I bring to this world. And how I got into it, actually, I used to work at a place, an acupuncture clinic, and that is where I started learning about alternative healing and stuff. And I
Mhm.
became very curious, and I thought I wanted to study Ayurveda initially. And so in my Google searches, this school called IIN, the Integrative Institute for Nutrition, kept popping up. So I was like, I wonder what they've got there. So I took a look at their curriculum. It was very comprehensive. There was stuff not just on nutrition, but there was stuff on anger management and meditation. And when we talk about holistic health, you
Mhm.
know, we talk about the 3 disciplines, 3 elements, so mind, body, and spirit, because they
Yes.
all share a harmony when they are in sync. If one part of the equation is out of balance, the other parts will be affected too.
Right. Right. Fantastic. So you mentioned Ayurvedic. So can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, so Ayurveda is one of the
Ayurveda. Okay.
ancient healing systems that dates back to India. So there's two. There's traditional Chinese medicine and there
Hmm.
is Ayurveda. So Ayurveda stems from India, and in Ayurveda there is 3 doshas, like they're different types. So there is Vata, which is air, someone there to have a very light personality, they're bubbly, they like interacting. And then there is the Kapha kind of person, and that type, that dosha, they're more likely to hold weight onto their bodies, and the energy might be a little stagnant, so they might need to do a different kind of exercise as opposed to another type of
Okay.
dosha. And then there is the Pitta. So Pitta means like fire, and this kind of person, sometimes they might get angry easily, and they just need to learn how to relax and stuff like that. So
Right.
depending, the dosha types, they have a lot of things where you might be in balance or out of balance, and then you can use that information to know how to get yourself back into balance.
And so with that, how do you practice? How do you do your practice? You with that, with you pull that into the way that you treat people, or how does that go?
Yeah, so with my coaching practice, it being holistic,
Hmm.
the approach that I use is very individualized based on the
Okay.
person. So no two people are the same. They're gonna have different needs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Their body systems, they operate a little bit differently. So for example, like you can eat peanuts, or I might be allergic to peanuts.
Right.
So it's the same thing. Everyone has to be mindful of what they're putting into their body and the things that they're doing to achieve their own harmony, if you want to call
Right.
it that.
Right.
And
Right.
so it's very individualized, and it's based on their needs. So usually during a consultation that I have with them at the beginning, based on the consultation, when I have their health history, so I can look at, what they were eating in their childhood compared to what they're eating now, and kind of
Right.
get an idea to see if if it improved, if it didn't improve, and
Hmm.
all the while I maintain no judgment. It's
Right.
very
Right.
non-judgmental, supportive, because my role is not to like tell people what to eat. It's to
Hmm.
cultivate this kind of awareness that they have conscious choice, and to ask
Right.
them the right questions to
Hmm.
elicit responses that really makes them think, do I want to continue making the choices that I've made all along, or do I want to change the choice to chart
Hmm.
a new path?
Right. Right. So by the time someone comes to you, they're probably wanting to chart that new path, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and when it comes to change it's tough and it's
Ooh,
challenging. But if
yes.
you've been doing something for like 5 years and it's not
Hmm.
working, it's time. It's time, and mentally you have to make that mental shift. You have
Right.
to be ready and tell yourself mentally, I'm tired of this crap, you know?
Right.
And
Right.
once you
Right.
reach that point, then you can begin to transform your mindset first, because mindset is the basis of every single thing we do. It all
Right.
starts in the mind, and then the body
Mhm.
follows.
Right, right. So like I had one of those mental shifts for myself was, it's like when looking around and it's like that's what caused me to be like, okay, I have been shifting for a while. It's like saying
Hmm.
I need to quit sugar, it's like or asking myself the main question, why am I bigger than everybody else in my house? I'm bigger than my child who
Hmm.
eats and everybody eats way more than me. What's going on with me? And that started me to thinking, it's like, okay, I got to do something, but what can I do?
Yeah.
And so,
And you
do you find
see,
that you find your
it's
people, the people that come to you, they have things like that too?
yeah, it's a bit similar. And like you started by asking yourself those questions. So inquiry is where it starts too.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes I think the clients that approach me, they're just tired of being in the cycle of just eating a set of sugar, and they're not feeling vibrant in their body. So it does get to the point where they're tired of what they've been doing, and they just want to feel different. And who
Right.
doesn't
So,
want to feel better in their body and their mind and more clarity?
absolutely. Yeah, we want to be fabulous. Okay, people, we want to be fabulous.
Yes.
And eating sugar doesn't get you fabulousness. It doesn't, does it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think that fat is the enemy, but really it's kind of
Say
like
that.
sugar. sugar is what we need to be worried about, not the fat. Like fat insulates
Exactly.
our organs, but sugar can do some major wreak some major havoc in the body, like
Come on.
inflammation, and
Yes.
it just like calcifies the pineal gland, which links to your intuition.
Say that again.
There's a
It
lot.
calcifies what? I hadn't caught that
So
one though.
so sugar, it calcifies the pineal gland.
Okay.
And when that happens, your pineal gland connects to your intuition. You know, when you have like those gut feelings, or you just have this knowing,
Okay.
you know things, but you
Yeah.
don't know
Yeah.
how, you just
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
So that is where your intuition comes in. And so when you have a lot of sugar in your diet, it kind of blocks you and separates you from that connection with yourself.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So that's so see, I learned something new today because I never really thought about that. I know I say the gut brain connection,
Mm-hmm.
their gut
That too.
health and all of that. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but like there's something else there that sugar is affecting and
Yeah.
calcifying. Wow, that's interesting. What else have you discovered in your studies that how sugar has negative effects on the body? What other things can you share with us?
So it really, like you just mentioned with the gut brain connection, whatever we're feeding our microbes can
Mm-hmm.
affect our moods. So for example, if you have a leaky gut, that means that stuff it's getting out into the bloodstream now and it's going all over the body. And that can affect you mentally and how you're feeling. So if you're eating sugar, it's feeding the sugar microbes in the gut. And think of it, if all of these like bad guys start to take over, what's
Right.
going to happen? What's going to happen to the microbes, like the good guys in your stomach that
Right.
actually help you, like, fight infection and all of that stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. So so you said leaky gut. So yeah, because like I know and during my studies, I mean that's more like going like over there into the medical stuff and all that. But I
Yeah.
saw the illustration of the leaky gut where it's like you have holes in you have these villi fingers like in
Mhm.
your gut, and then it just develops like these little holes and things around there, and it's showing like these little particles just like plugging up or going through
Yeah.
and getting into your blood. And so
Mhm.
that's really interesting because we don't really think about something from, and I mean, that's something from your gut, man. That's something from your gut. Like, when
Yeah.
by the time something's in your gut, it's on its way out. It's not supposed to be staying in the body, right? So,
Yeah.
people, what are we doing to ourselves when we eating all this sugar? We just don't know. We just don't know.
Mhm.
So, have you had an experience where like you are where you did you come from yourself personally like a sugar addicted background or anything like that, or tell us
Girl,
your
let me
story.
let me tell you. Yes, I am. I would like to say I'm recovered, but
Hmm.
sometimes there are still like little remnants, and I do have
Yeah.
the awareness now. I am way, way better than I used to be about sugar. So my experience with sugar, it dates back to even middle school and high school. I was
Hmm.
really stressed as a student, and my way of coping was to buy junk food from the machines. And I
Yeah.
like the sweet stuff. Like I was
Mhm.
eating sometimes 4 or 5 bags a day. They have like the little brownies and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I wasn't conscious of it back then. I didn't
Right.
really think about my energy in middle school, high school, like, oh, I'm
Right.
fatigued because I'm eating all of this sugar. I didn't make the connection then.
Right.
And
Right.
as I got older, not too long ago, like within the last year or so, I once I started doing my training and my studies, and I was coming across other holistic practitioners, I came across someone, and I learned just so much about myself. And so I had this awareness that, okay, my body's feeling tired when I eat sugar, but there was
Right.
just something in me that couldn't stop. Like I don't think it was like a matter of willpower, because like
Yeah.
I had a willpower for a little while. And then
Hmm.
after, it's like I caved and I just binged. And when you eat refined sugar, like it does something magical in the brain where you want more. And
Hmm.
the more you
Hmm.
eat, it seems like it's not enough. You need to eat more, you know?
Right, right. That's that addiction because sugar is so addictive. People don't really realize it. They're
Yes.
not. They
Yes.
don't understand.
It's like the new crack basically.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It is. It's so addictive. And we just had Halloween pass, and everybody's
Mhm.
like, "Hey, it's like you getting the kids with the trick or treat, give me some candy, give me some
Yeah.
candy, give me some candy." And I said that I was chauffeuring some teenagers around, and they were
Mhm.
commenting they were going to go into a sugar coma because they were going to have so much sugar, and I'm like, that's a real thing,
Yeah.
hey, that's a real thing. But they were
Scary.
joking about it. They were joking about it. And they're not the only ones. Everybody else is out there joking about that too. So
Mhm.
yeah, so you're recovering. You're
Yeah.
aware. And
Yeah.
I think awareness is a big thing, because when you're aware, then you can start down the process of really being mindful of it
Yeah.
and pay
And
attention.
I really had to dig a lot deeper into
Hmm.
why I was eating that much sugar, and
Right.
for me, it was because of my emotions. I didn't know how to deal with my emotions, being a writer, yeah,
Okay.
when I feel emotional, I write. But sometimes when emotions, like even from trauma and stuff, they're stuck in the body, it might manifest as you using sugar to cope. Like all of these things
Yeah.
manifest very differently. And so that's how it was manifesting for me as well. And I really had to do a ton of mindset work, digging deeper, seeing why do I eat sugar, around what times of the day do I eat it.
Hmm.
And once I started doing that and practicing other things like mindful eating, which has been a huge game changer, it really helped. And I was able to gain my control over my sugar addiction. So like now I can go to a party, I can see sugar all over around me, and I don't
Right.
feel like I need to eat the whole table. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I,
See,
I can have it because I've developed this relationship with myself
mhm.
that I understand, food, it's sustenance, and depending what I eat,
Yeah.
I will feel a certain way. And I know if I have too much, I'm going to
Hmm.
feel tired and sluggish. And I don't like feeling tired and sluggish
Hmm.
around 4 o'clock. I want to have some
Right.
energy so I can go for a walk in the afternoon
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
maintain my energy throughout the evening too.
Right. So you mentioned something there. Mindful eating. What is that?
Hmm. So, mindful eating, in simple terms, it's eating with presence. I'll
Okay.
tell you what is not mindful eating. This might
Okay.
be
Okay.
easier.
Okay.
So, examples of mindless eating. So, opposite of mindful, you're driving in the car and you are eating your donut or your breakfast sandwich, whatever. So,
Hmm.
you're not being mindful about it because your mind is not focusing on the taste and the textures and the flavors or the
Okay.
color. Another example, people, busy professionals, they eat at their work desk in front of their
Hmm.
computer, or you're
Right.
watching TV and you're eating. Think about when you go to the movies and you buy popcorn, right? Let's say you get like
Hmm.
the medium to big bag.
Right.
Do you finish the whole bag of popcorn before half of the movie is through?
You just okay. Okay. I see
Yeah,
that.
so
So we're
so
just we're just yeah.
a lot of it is mindless because the movie's here and you're just going like this, right? You're just eating, but
Yeah.
you're not really tasting the butter on the popcorn. You're not really
Okay.
tasting the crunch when you're chewing it each chew. So that's why
Right.
it's considered mindless. And so when we practice mindful eating, we're really connecting to the food. So by eliminating the distractions and all of the external stuff, it's
Hmm.
just you and your food. And when you eat that way, you feel fuller, like quicker. Once you get used to it,
Okay.
you're gonna
Okay.
notice if you were just eating for example, if you were eating mindlessly, you're
Hmm.
more likely to overeat and not feel satisfied than if you practice mindful eating.
Okay. Okay. So mindful, you're connecting with the food,
Hmm.
you're present in the moment with
Yeah,
your food, and no
yeah,
distractions.
right. And then you also tune into your body. There's another thing called intuitive eating, which allows you to tune into your body.
Hmm.
Because sometimes you might think you're hungry, but really you're just dehydrated, and if you drink water and you tune into your body, you can feel full.
Hmm. Yes,
You'll know if you're full or if you
that's a
need to
good
eat a
point.
snack or something. But it's all about going back to just trusting your body. And when we're eating a lot of refined sugars and processed foods,
Hmm.
we're very far removed from all of the natural, the whole food. So like apples, oranges, vegetables, your eggplants, your broccoli and stuff like that. Think about
Right.
it. When people overeat, do they eat an entire plate of like salmon or broccoli? No, they don't. They
Hmm.
reach for sugary stuff, processed stuff, the chips, cookies, candies,
Yeah.
cakes, stuff like that. And
Yeah.
usually when you're in an emotional state of mind, so if you're stressed, maybe you
Hmm.
had a breakup with your significant other, and now you have these emotions. So
Right.
the easiest way to cope, which most people do, they reach for food because food triggers the pleasure center in your brain that gets
Hmm.
you that nice feeling. You can relax, it's okay, and it's
Right.
not sustainable. While
Right.
it is a short term fix, it is not sustainable. And if you continue going on that way, for months
Hmm.
and years, you might be overweight or you might develop an eating disorder later on in life.
Right, right. This is real. That's really good. That's really interesting. So you mentioned your book and that you mentioned you're a writer. Now I
Yes.
know that you wrote a book. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a break real quick, and we'll come back. And when we come back, we want to discuss your book.
Okay.
All right.
A change in diet and nutrition as a means of controlling and managing the blood glucose levels in the body is important for diabetic individuals. Also, making wise choices regarding the foods you eat. It simply means that a well planned and beneficial diabetic diet regime is one that involves limiting the intake of sweets and sugars, and that's where Some Sweet Plus can help. It can help you ensure that your sweet treats don't disturb your general carbohydrate count. Make and enjoy your sweet treats with Some Sweet Plus. I tried to stop eating sugar, but there was nothing that was good. Monk fruit, eh. Splenda, eh. Oh my God. Um, Xylitol, Trots, um, and erythritol. The cooling effect. How many batches of cookies did I ruin trying to use those things? Uh, Everyone. Nothing was good. So I was like, there's got to be something out there. There's got to be something better. It's Some Sweet Plus. It was magic. Oh my gosh. Nobody could tell the difference. It was wonderful.
Mute us there, and
Oh,
we can start talking again. So you mentioned that you were a writer, and part of your writing was healing for you, was cathartic for you, and so
yeah.
tell us a little bit about your writing and the things that you've written.
So yeah, I have two books like I mentioned earlier. The first book, it's a poetry book and it explores my journey through a really traumatic event in my life that affected my health, physically, mentally, spiritually, every single thing. Um,
Hmm.
and as a way of coping, I started writing poems and I just like
Okay.
wrote a bunch of poems in a notebook. And then one day I was talking to a friend and they were like, "Why don't you write a book?" And I was
Hmm.
like, I never thought about it, because
Right.
I mean, I was a former teacher. I never thought I would have written a book. But
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
always loved reading, even when I was growing up and in school. I loved reading. Reading provided me with solace, and I could travel that way and
Hmm.
have new experiences vicariously. And so I was like, let me see if I could do this. So I
Okay.
started Googling, figuring out stuff. There was this other author who I would chat with on Instagram. She had written a poetry book actually, and I just did it like one day.
Okay.
I just did it. And I remember I had like 80 poems. And then I found out that with Amazon, to publish on Amazon KDP platform, you need at least 100 pages. So I was like, oh man, like, do I really want to do this? So I had reached
Mhm.
out to her and she was very supportive and encouraging. And, I muscled it out. I got 20 more poems in there. And I have an extra one because instead of 100, I had 101 poems. So
Okay.
I went a little bit above and beyond.
Yes.
And it was very healing for me because when something really like affects your life that way, and
Mhm.
you feel powerless,
Mhm.
writing was so healing and it allowed me to heal and to see things from a different perspective. And I think time also plays a role when you go through something
Right.
that kind of like breaks your spirit and breaks your soul.
Mhm.
There, my whole the whole point of the book is just to bring hope, to people, no matter what you went through. If it was something similar to me or
Right.
another thing that broke your spirit, like, you are
Mhm.
resilient. And a lot of the time we forget that, but the human spirit is so resilient.
Right. Right.
And I just
Right.
wanted to remind people that, I went through this and there is always going to be hope for you too, if you're going through the same thing or another thing.
Right.
And so in
Right.
my book, I talked about, things that I did that helped me, like cooking and crafting and all of these like different therapies, like art and stuff like that, because
Mhm.
it's very powerful.
Right. Right. So that was with the poetry book, and you said you have a second book as well.
Yes. So after I published my first book, I had people messaging me on Instagram and sharing their own personal experiences. So I
Okay.
started to notice a pattern and I'm like, okay, we need to really be talking about like taboo topics, especially relating to mental health and trauma and
Right.
parenting and adverse experiences. So I had an idea and I was like, I could put them together. It doesn't
Mhm.
have to be my writing, but I could
Right.
like make a post and have people like submit if they were interested. And I ended up working with 67 contributors
Oh, wow. Okay.
who gave their story. And it was a huge undertaking for me because there was a lot of things I didn't know. I didn't know I needed a legal agreement until one of them had asked me
Okay.
about it. And I was like, what's that? And then someone else connected me with a lawyer who was actually part of my writing group, and she was able to help me with that. So
Okay.
when you have an idea, when you have a passion,
Mhm.
nothing will stop you. The universe will conspire, they will send people in your
Yes.
path so that you can get it done. And
Yes.
our book was published, and we've been having these, what I call the curator and contributor series conversations,
Okay.
where
Mhm.
every other Saturday, my contributors and I will talk about what inspired their short story in a theme. And some of the themes like sexuality and like, I'm trying to remember of some of the other teams, like right now, like mental health, body image,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. Like, I'm Guyanese, so I come from the Caribbean and West Indian community
Mhm.
where like people think it's normal to say, like, when they see you after 5 years, they'll be like, oh, you got fat, like stuff like that. And it's
Right.
so normalized. And just to be in a community of people that acknowledge, like, they know that, okay, this is not right. And we
Mhm.
want to rewrite the narratives because the old
Right.
narratives aren't serving us anymore. So it's time to really rewrite it and create a new
Mhm.
script.
Right.
And so
Exactly.
I really wanted to destigmatize mental health because even in my own personal life, there was a period of my life where I did not have the best mental health and it affected me really deeply. And
Mhm.
I couldn't really talk to anyone about it, and just the
Right.
whole thing going to therapy and stuff like that, it was very healing. And I like to tell people this: therapy is a way of exploration. It's a way
Mhm.
of getting to know yourself on a deeper level. Why your behaviors are the way they are,
Mhm.
what triggers you, what
Right.
childhood traumas or things you experience that you did not heal, and they're showing up in your life right now. Because when you go through life and you go through things and you suppress them, they're going to come to the surface later in life. You might be dating
Eventually.
someone and
Yes.
find that they trigger you, and it
Right.
was from a past hurt in your childhood or when you were growing up.
Right.
So therapy, it's an exploration of
Yeah.
like the self and the soul.
Right.
And I
Right.
would recommend it to everyone, because who
Yes.
doesn't want to know themselves on such a deeper
Yes.
level?
Yes. And we need to explore some things that we have, we suppressed, that our
Mm-hmm.
mind has just closed the door on, and you don't even know that there's this door and that there's something behind this door,
Mm-hmm.
and but somehow subconsciously you're sabotaging yourself, as someone said.
Yeah.
You're doing things to yourself. You're letting stuff happen, or you're doing things to other people just because of what's behind this door that you, in your mind, that you don't want to deal with. So yeah, that's
Yes.
very good. That's very good. And you mentioned the group. So you said you all have these sessions. So are those sessions that anybody can be a part of, or how does that work?
You mean the conversations that I have with my contributors?
Yeah, you said you mentioned that there was, that you all have this back and forth, or this kind of meeting. Is that a private meeting, or is that something that's open to others?
No, no, it's open to everyone because I do it on my Instagram, so I go live on like
Okay.
usually it's a Saturday. If it's not a Saturday, I make flyers and let everyone know like what day of the week we're gonna be
Okay.
talking, so that they can
Okay.
come, and I post the replay as well so they can catch it if they didn't. And
Okay.
just to see how, it's been impacting people, it's really rewarding because I'll get messages from people, like who've read the book, and they're like, oh my gosh, I see myself represented. Like, thank you for like putting this together. And it
Mm-hmm.
really just warms my heart. And I know that this book has a lot of potential because there is just so much hurt and so much intergenerational trauma
Right.
within our families that are still presenting itself as, sometimes it might be like anger or
Mm-hmm.
a lot of unconscious beliefs that are still there that might not be
Right.
necessarily true, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
so
Right.
now I feel like we're questioning things because I'm okay, for example, like another relative, they might have been born in say like 1950 or 1960. So the way they did things back then is very
Right.
different from now. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't really have
Mm-hmm.
therapy back then. Like like who would they go to talk to about stuff? Like a lot of them they
Right.
just kept it within themselves.
Just sucked
Um
it up.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and not having an outlet. When you don't have an outlet to let things out and you
Mhm.
bottle it, you're the one that ends up suffering because it has nowhere to go except in
Right.
here, you know?
Right.
And that
Right.
stuff can affect you not just mentally, but physically too, because our emotions, like when you don't let your emotions out,
Mm-hmm.
they say some emotions can turn into disease later in life.
Yes. Yes, that's a very good point about emotions turning into disease, and actually helping disease along,
Mm-hmm.
because part of that with high emotions and all of that would cause high cortisol levels and inflammation in the
Stress.
body and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. And then along with our bad eating habits,
Yes.
all of that goes hand in hand.
Yes. So there is
So,
a link with so emotions and food. They're really linked in emotions and sugar. So when you're stressed, right,
mhm,
your cortisol levels are elevated, and now you're
right,
gonna reach for the cupcake or the candy to make you feel a little good,
right.
and then you can really get caught up into that cycle.
Yes.
And depending on
Yeah.
how long you're caught in the cycle, you're gonna start gaining weight, and that's going to affect your body image because now you don't look like how you used to look 5 years ago. So
Right.
it's physical and mental, and it can even get to spiritual too.
Yeah. So do you, in your practice, because being a holistic,
Mm-hmm.
health coach, nutritional health coach, you touch on the spiritual aspect of things as well, right? So you deal with that. How do you deal with that when you come across people with all different sort of religious or spiritual backgrounds? How do you deal with that? How do you handle that?
Yeah, so usually, I would ask them if they have a spiritual practice because, again, my role as holistic health coach is not to push any beliefs on anyone, right?
Hmm.
Remember,
Hmm.
everything is non-judgmental. I am their guide. I hold space for them, and
Right.
just by me asking, whether or not they have a spiritual practice, sometimes they might, and I'll learn a little bit about them too. Because having a spiritual practice, it's a way of really keeping you grounded and keeping you centered. Just
Right.
having belief in whatever the person believes in, if they want to believe in the sky or God or the universe, whatever they call
Hmm.
it,
Right.
believing in something, it keeps them grounded, and it gives them something to like to not trying to think of how to say it, like they can remain still, remain
Hmm.
still and centered despite
Right.
whatever external factors and chaos is going outside,
Right.
so they can
Right.
keep inside here still. And so what spiritual practices, what it does, it helps to bring you back to the present, bring you back to your inner being and get you connected that way. Despite, it doesn't matter what you're connecting to, everyone wants to feel connected. We have relationships with people, friendships, whether it's relationships with your parents, your colleagues, friendships and stuff like that, because connection takes us very far, and having community is essential to longevity and your overall happiness, because when you're not connected, you start to feel lonely, you feel isolated, and then that can lead to other mental health related stuff.
Right, right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break real quick, and we'll be right back just after this, and we'll continue on talking with our special guest, Tiffany Manbodh. All righty, just one moment. We're taking a break.
Acquiring diabetes simply indicates that you should put an end to the consumption of sweets. Even though diabetics are prevented from eating sweets, experts agree that occasional intake of sweets will do no harm. The major concern is in ensuring that sweets are taken in controlled quantities, and that's where Some Sweet Plus can help you ensure your sweet treats don't disturb your general carbohydrate count. Make and enjoy your treats with Some Sweet Plus.
And we're
We're back.
back.
So yes, yes. So as we are rounding it up here, I am really enjoying this conversation. Everybody out there, if you're enjoying this conversation, come on, give our guests a round of applause. Yes, because I am really enjoying this. I'm learning so much, and I hope everyone else out there is learning, so some different things. So we want to get into your more about where we can find you. Want to know your Instagrams, your Facebook, YouTube,
Sure.
whatever it is that you got, all of your social medias. You got to tell us where we will be able to find you, how people can connect with you, if someone
Mhm.
wants to book a consultation with you. Hopefully they, you can give them a little bit of outline about maybe some of that and how that would go, and how
Mhm.
you start out with the consultation and things like that. So just share that with us so we can get all of your information, so people, oh, and do you have your book? Because what is the name of your book?
I do. It's on my shelf, but it's a little distance from me right now. If I reach over, I'm not gonna be in this frame anymore.
Okay. So everybody, what I will do is it's gonna be in the cards, and because I didn't upload a picture of that. I didn't upload a picture. But I'm gonna put it in the cards in the show notes, so you'll be able to see your book, and a link for the book where everybody can go and get it. What's the title of your book, if you might share that with us, both of them, so that people can look for them?
Sure. So the first book is called Forget Me Nots, and the second book is titled Blooming Through Adversity.
Okay. So Blooming Through Adversity, that is the book that where you had the 67 women come and join you
Yeah.
in telling their stories of trauma
Hmm.
and
And their
overcoming their trauma.
adverse experiences, yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. And so where can we find you? Tell us about your practice, how they can connect with you. And
Okay.
maybe just a hint about maybe the start of the consultation the part of it or how that
Okay.
goes.
Sure. So, the best way to connect with me, is through Instagram. My handle is the holistic heroine. Yeah, I know it sounds a little weird, but a heroine is someone who saves the day, and I wanted to do just that. So, the holistic heroine. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook as Tiffany Manbodh, and I also have just built out. I'm putting together this community because I want to create a community of like powerful boss women and just help
Okay.
them to live their best life through like healing their relationships with food and stress. And
Okay.
so the name of my community is Busy Business Women's Health and Healing Circle. It's a private Facebook group.
Okay.
And, in that group, I share recipes and tips and tricks, hacks, a bunch of different information and tools that they can integrate to their lifestyle to feel
Okay.
more vibrant. And
Okay.
so, going back to contacting me, Instagram, it's the best way. And I also, in my bio, there are links. There is a Calendly. So if you're interested in a health consultation, I do have complimentary 30-minute health consultations if you're interested. If you're really struggling with like sugar cravings, or you're fatigued, or your energy is low, or you're really, really stressed out and you feel like you're gonna lose all your hair, I'm the person to see. So yeah, so during a health consultation, it's like an exploratory session. A lot of people, what I've been noticing is that for the first time, they might say stuff that they hadn't noticed was going
Okay.
on in their life. So it really does bring a lot into their awareness. And I usually have them fill out a health history form prior to the 30-minute call, just so I can see, what's going on, what's bothering them with like from their health perspective, what do they want to work on, and then we dive into that in the 30-minute health consultation call.
Okay.
And if they choose to, if they want to work with me, we'll go further after that. But I mean, you really have nothing to lose. It's free. It's 30 minutes. It's a health
Right.
consultation. And sometimes, even if you think you have nothing wrong with your health,
Mhm.
have a consultation with me, because I'm pretty sure we might find something you didn't even know that was wrong.
Exactly, exactly. So there it is, everyone. You can get a free health consultation. So I'm going to put all that information in the show notes and in the cards and on the podcast. It'll be there so you guys can go and get a free health consultation. It doesn't cost you anything, and you might learn something about yourself that you did not even know that you had
Hmm.
going on. So
Yeah.
yes, so I mean that's great. That's great. So take advantage of that and go pick up the book. Is Blooming Through Adversity,
Yes.
correct?
Blooming through
Go get the
adversity.
book, and so that so you're not alone. There's so many. You're not there. I know it feels like sometimes that when you've gone through something in your life that it's only you and
Hmm.
nobody else. This could not have possibly happened to anyone else. And that's really not true.
Hmm.
What I went through may not be the exact same thing, but it may be something similar enough to where just to somebody else relaying their story and sharing their story, it can make a huge impact on you so that you feel like you're not all by yourself.
Yeah.
And Tiffany has done a great job with bringing 67 stories. Wow, and that's enough to touch on, a little bit of something for everybody to
Yeah.
to to get healing and to get help. So thank you for doing that. That's great. That's a great thing right there. So is there anything else in our closing minutes here, as we have a few minutes left, anything else that you would want to share with us today? Any parting words, any last words that you want to leave with us for today's broadcast?
So, being that, we're in November, we have less than 2 months, and then we're going to greet a new year.
Hmm.
And I just want to remind everyone to prioritize your health, because your health is the foundation to everything that you do. If you don't have your health, you might not be able to go to work. Mentally, you might not feel your best. Your health is
Hmm.
the gold. Like, your health is wealth. So
Yes.
take care of it.
Yes.
Physically, mentally, spiritually, just to be mindful and prioritize that.
Be mindful of your health. Those are some great words, everyone. And I know that we know that the holiday seasons tend to make people feel really sad and depressed,
Mm-hmm.
and all of that. Be so. What we took, our takeaway from today is mindful eating. Be present when you're eating. Be present with your food. Taste it. Slow down and taste it, and actually feel the textures and all of that stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
enjoy your food. And then take care of your mental health.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Tiffany, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been great. This has been awesome. Everyone, go get her book, Blooming Through Adversity. You can get it on Amazon. And the title of your other book again?
Forget me nots, like the
Forget
flower.
Me Not, like the flower. Yes, so those are a book of poems that you can go and support Tiffany, support the work that she's doing. And if you want to get a free consultation, you can find her on Instagram. Give your Instagram handle again.
The holistic heroine.
The Holistic Heroine. So everyone, go and check her out. Check her out. And everyone, just say with me or give her a round of applause. And thank you, Tiffany, for sharing with us today. We appreciate you so much. And everyone, until next time, we're going to just wrap it up there. Again, if you want to get some sweets, you can go over to the website, swmsweet.com, and get some sweet. Till next time, everyone. You know how we do. And we're Well, that's it for today's broadcast. Want to thank you all for tuning in. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up if you like this type of content. Also, comment and subscribe to all of our social medias. Peace and blessings.